Hi, I'm Dr. Sara Collins. If you're watching your hair slowly turn gray, strand by strand, spending money on dyes every few weeks, and have been told there's nothing you can do because it's just genetics, what I'm about to share could completely change how you think about your hair. The gray you see on your head right now might not be permanent, and it might not even be genetic. In fact, it could be caused by a vitamin deficiency so common in people over 60 that researchers sometimes call it an invisible epidemic. Over the years, I've studied why some older adults maintain their natural hair color well into their 70s and 80s, while others go completely gray in their 50s. What I discovered is that there is one specific nutrient that can actually reverse gray hair and restore your natural color from the inside out. But before I reveal which vitamin it is, you need to understand how gray hair forms, why this nutrient is key, and how to use it safely. If you try it the wrong way, the results won't show, and you'll think nothing works. Let's start with a story about a patient named Helen. Her experience shows exactly what's possible when you address the root cause instead of just covering it up with dye. Helen was 68 when she came to my clinic. She first noticed gray hairs in her early 50s, just a few strands around her temples. By 55, the gray had spread across the top of her head. By 60, over half of her hair was gray, and by 65, she was almost completely gray. For over a decade, Helen had been coloring her hair every 3 weeks. 2 hours in the salon every month, harsh chemicals, roots showing in less than 2 weeks. The gray always returned. Her stylist told her it was genetic, that her mother went gray early, so there was nothing to be done except keep dyeing her hair. But Helen didn't accept that. She had read about people naturally reversing gray hair, and she was determined to try. When I asked Helen about her daily diet, she described a modern, healthy pattern: rice, fish, vegetables, some fruit. But when we looked closer, something important became clear. Helen barely ate foods rich in one particular vitamin that hair follicles need to produce melanin, the pigment that gives hair its color. She avoided red meat, organ meats, and rarely ate shellfish, the very foods that traditionally provided this nutrient. Her modern diet was missing the key building blocks her hair follicles desperately needed. A simple blood test revealed she was severely deficient, running at less than half the level her body needed for optimal hair pigmentation. Her gray hair wasn't caused by genetics. Her hair follicles simply didn't have the raw materials to produce color. I explained to Helen that every hair grows from a follicle beneath the scalp. Inside each follicle are melanocytes, specialized cells that produce melanin. When you're young and nourished, these melanocytes work efficiently, producing rich, dark pigment. As we age, especially if nutrients are lacking, the melanocytes slow down, produce less pigment, and eventually stop altogether. That's when gray hair appears. Most doctors say this process is irreversible. Once a follicle stops producing pigment, it's done. But research shows something remarkable. In many cases, melanocytes aren't dead. They're just dormant, starving for the nutrients they need. When given the right nutrient in the right form, these cells can wake up and start producing pigment again. This is the key to reversing gray hair naturally, and it's exactly what we focused on with Helen. Helen was skeptical at first, but she was willing to try. I explained that this wouldn't happen overnight. Hair grows slowly, about half an inch per month, so the gray already on her head wouldn't change color. But new hair growing from her follicles could be different if her melanocytes were reactivated. We started a targeted approach. I recommended a specific supplement containing the active form of the nutrient her hair follicles desperately needed, along with dietary changes to include foods naturally rich in it. Helen committed to taking the supplement daily and adjusting her meals to include these foods. The first month passed with no noticeable changes. Helen called me discouraged, thinking maybe it wouldn't work. I reminded her that this process takes time. By the third month, she noticed something unexpected. One morning, looking at her roots, she realized the new hair wasn't white or gray. It had a faint, dark shade she hadn't seen in years. She wasn't sure if she was imagining it, but it was the first sign that her melanocytes were waking up. By month 4, there was no question. The roots were definitely darker. Not her full original color yet, but noticeably less gray than the rest of her hair. By month 6, she had nearly 2 inches of new growth that was substantially darker than the gray hair below it. Her stylist was stunned. They had never seen a client's hair naturally regain color without dye. By month 9, her hair had a natural mix of old gray and new darker strands, creating a salt and pepper effect that many people pay to achieve with color treatments. By the 1-year mark, most of her new growth had returned to her natural color, rich dark brown with depth and dimension. Helen stopped coloring her hair completely. The new growth wasn't fake, it was her own hair producing real pigment again. If you've ever noticed slightly darker roots among mostly gray hair, that's a sign your melanocytes might still be alive and could potentially be reactivated. This is what happened with Helen, and it's an important clue for anyone hoping to reverse gray naturally. Now, here's why this nutrient is so critical, especially for people over 60. It's vitamin B12, also called cobalamin. Most people have heard of it, but very few understand how important it is for hair pigmentation. B12 is essential for red blood cell production, nerve function, DNA synthesis, and, critically, supporting melanocyte function in hair follicles. Without enough B12, melanocytes slow down and eventually stop producing pigment altogether. B12 deficiency is common in older adults for several reasons. First, it's found naturally only in animal products: meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. Many people reduce these foods for health reasons or have digestive sensitivities, so their intake drops. Second, even if you eat enough, your body may not absorb it properly. As we age, stomach acid and intrinsic factor, necessary for B12 absorption, decline. Finally, certain medications, like those for diabetes or acid reflux, can block absorption. Research shows that adults over 60 with lower B12 levels tend to have more gray hair than those with optimal levels. More importantly, studies found that supplementing B12 in deficient individuals led to visible darkening of hair in over a third of participants within 6 to 12 months. Rapid graying, especially in middle age, often signals a nutritional deficiency rather than purely genetic aging. B12 doesn't work alone. For the best results, your body also needs adequate copper, folate, and foods that support natural catalase production, which protects pigment from being bleached by hydrogen peroxide buildup in hair follicles. To give you the best chance at reversing gray hair, it's important to follow a complete, structured protocol. First, proper testing is essential. Ask your doctor not just for a standard B12 test, but also for methylmalonic acid and homocysteine levels, which reveal whether your cells are actually getting enough B12. You could have normal B12 in your blood, but still be deficient at the cellular level. This is especially common in people over 60. Once deficiency is confirmed, the supplement must be the active form of B12, called methylcobalamin. This form doesn't require conversion in the body like standard B12 pills, which older adults often absorb poorly. The recommended daily dose is usually between 1,000 and 2,000 micrograms under the tongue for better absorption. Sublingual tablets bypass the digestive system and get straight into your bloodstream. Consistency is key. You need to take it daily for at least 6 months before evaluating results. Hair grows slowly, so patience is essential. Next, your diet should support this process. Include B12-rich foods like salmon, sardines, mackerel, eggs, and grass-fed beef. If you can tolerate it, liver once or twice a week is an incredible source. One serving contains more B12 than most people get in an entire week. At the same time, make sure you're getting enough copper, which your melanocytes need to produce pigment. Copper-rich foods include shellfish, cashews, sunflower seeds, and mushrooms. Avoid excessive zinc supplements, which can block copper absorption. Folate, also known as vitamin B9, is another key nutrient. Folate works closely with B12 in cellular processes, including DNA synthesis, which is critical for hair follicles' rapid cell division. Deficiency in folate can limit your results even if B12 is optimized. Folate is found in dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, legumes like lentils and chickpeas, and fortified grains. Finally, support catalase, an enzyme that breaks down hydrogen peroxide in hair follicles. Hydrogen peroxide naturally builds up as we age, bleaching pigment and causing gray or white hair. While you can't take catalase directly as a supplement because digestion breaks it down, you can encourage your body to produce it naturally through foods like sweet potatoes, broccoli, cabbage, apples, and berries. Including these foods every day helps protect your new pigment as it grows. Tracking progress is crucial. Take clear photos of your roots and hairline before starting the protocol, and then every 4 weeks. This helps you notice subtle changes over time. Most people who respond begin to see new darker growth around month 3 or 4, with more noticeable changes by month 6 to 12. It's important to manage expectations. Not everyone will achieve full reversal. If your melanocytes have been dormant for decades, some may never fully reactivate. Genetics still play a role. But even partial reversal, going from white to gray or gray to salt and pepper, can make a dramatic difference in appearance and confidence. Helen's success, along with many others, shows that natural reversal of gray hair is possible when deficiency is addressed properly. It's not magic or a gimmick. It's about giving your body the nutrients it needs to awaken dormant melanocytes and restore pigment from the inside out. Let me share another example to show how this works in real life. James, 72, had been completely gray since his late 50s. He had assumed B12 deficiency wasn't the issue because his doctor years ago said his levels were normal. But when we tested his methylmalonic acid, a more sensitive marker for cellular B12, it was clear he was deficient. This explains why his gray hair appeared so quickly and completely. We started James on methylcobalamin, 1,000 micrograms daily under the tongue, and adjusted his diet to include B12, rich foods along with copper, folate, and catalase-supporting vegetables and fruits. For months in, he noticed something surprising. New growth on his scalp and even in his beard wasn't pure white anymore. There were gray hairs mixed with darker strands, subtle but unmistakable. By 8 months, James's hair had visibly darkened throughout. It wasn't a full return to his original black hair, but the white turned to gray, and the gray turned to shades of dark brown. Friends thought he had started dyeing his hair, but he hadn't touched it. His melanocytes had simply started producing pigment again. James looked years younger, and more importantly, he felt healthier, his energy improved, his thinking clearer, and his nails and skin looked stronger. This is exactly what can happen when dormant melanocytes are reactivated. Gray hair isn't always permanent, especially if it appeared rapidly in middle age. Rapid graying often indicates a nutritional deficiency rather than purely genetic aging. That's why testing and correcting deficiencies is so crucial. For anyone over 60, this approach works best when followed consistently. Testing, supplementing with active B12, eating B12-rich foods, supporting copper and folate intake, and including catalase-promoting foods are all essential steps. Consistency over 6 to 12 months is key because hair grows slowly and the body takes time to respond. Visible results rarely appear in the first month, but with patience, you can notice gradual darkening of roots and new growth over time. It's also important to note that lifestyle matters. Avoid excessive stress, maintain a balanced diet, and monitor medications that may interfere with B12 absorption, like metformin or acid-reducing drugs. Small adjustments, along with proper supplementation, can have a huge impact. Many people report that partial reversal alone, from pure white to gray or gray to salt and pepper, is enough to make a significant difference in confidence and appearance. Even if full reversal isn't possible, activating melanocytes can slow further graying, protect existing pigment, and improve overall hair health. So, if you've been told gray hair is inevitable, remember Helen and James. Their stories show that, with the right approach, it's possible to restore natural color from the inside out. The key isn't expensive dyes or treatments. It's correcting the nutrient deficiencies that prevent melanocytes from functioning. Next, I'll guide you through Part 5, summarizing the complete step-by-step protocol, long-term tips, and answers to the most common questions seniors ask about reversing gray hair naturally. This is where you'll see how to make it work for yourself safely and effectively. Now, let's put it all together so you can take action safely and effectively. Here's the complete step-by-step approach for attempting to reverse gray hair naturally. Step 1. Get proper testing. Ask your doctor to check not just serum B12, but also methylmalonic acid and homocysteine levels. These show whether your cells are actually getting enough B12. Even if your blood test looks normal, your body could still be deficient. Step 2. Supplement with active B12. Use methylcobalamin, 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms daily, preferably sublingual. This bypasses absorption issues in the stomach, which are common in older adults. Take it consistently for 6 months or more before evaluating results. Hair grows slowly, so patience is essential. Step 3. Eat B12-rich foods regularly. Include salmon, sardines, mackerel, eggs, grass-fed beef, and, if possible, liver once or twice a week. One serving of liver contains more B12 than most people get in an entire week. This ensures your body has enough raw material to feed your melanocytes. Step 4. Ensure adequate copper intake. Copper is essential for pigment production. If you're taking zinc supplements, consider reducing them temporarily to allow copper levels to recover. Eat shellfish, nuts, seeds, and mushrooms to support healthy melanocyte function. Step 5. Support folate intake. Folate, or vitamin B9, works closely with B12 in DNA synthesis and rapid cell division, which is essential for hair follicle health. Include leafy greens like spinach and kale, legumes, lentils, chickpeas, and asparagus. Step 6. Include catalase-supporting foods. Catalase helps break down hydrogen peroxide that builds up in hair follicles and bleaches pigment from the inside. Eat sweet potatoes, broccoli, cabbage, apples, and berries daily to help protect and maintain pigment. Step 7. Track your progress with photos. Take clear pictures of your roots and hairline before starting. Take new photos every 4 weeks. Hair grows slowly, so visible changes appear gradually. Most people notice initial darkening of roots around month 3 or 4, with more significant changes by 6 to 12 months. Step 8. Manage your expectations. Not everyone achieves full reversal. Some melanocytes may have been dormant too long to reactivate. Genetics still play a role. But even partial reversal, going from white to gray or gray to salt and pepper, can make a dramatic difference in appearance, confidence, and overall hair health. Some common questions: can I just take any B12? Yes, but choose methylcobalamin for older adults. It's far more effective than standard cyanocobalamin. How long do I need to take it? Long-term supplementation is often needed because once the deficiency returns, the melanocytes may slow again. Is it safe to take high doses? Absolutely. B12 is water-soluble, and excess is excreted in urine. Vegetarians and vegans especially must supplement since plant foods don't reliably provide B12. Gray hair happens when melanocytes stop producing pigment. In many cases, especially rapid graying in middle age, this is due to B12 deficiency. Correcting it, along with supporting nutrients, can reactivate dormant cells and restore natural hair color in months, not years. If you've ever wished gray hair wasn't inevitable, Helen and James' stories prove it's possible. Share this information with anyone watching their hair turn gray. Take photos, follow the steps, stay consistent, and give your body the time it needs. Your natural color can return, and along with it, energy, vitality, and confidence.